I never thought my perfect life could feel like a prison until the day I realized the silence between me and my husband, Ethan, was louder than any words we'd ever spoken. I'm Mira, and for 12 years, I've lived in a picture-perfect world. Manicured lawns, exotic vacations, a marriage everyone envied. But beneath the polished surface, my heart ached for something more, something alive to shatter the monotony that had become my cage. Last night, Ethan led me into a mysterious, masked world where I became someone else, where forbidden connections sparked a fire I thought had long died. What happened in that shadowy room changed everything, but not in the way you might think. Will this be the end of us, or the beginning of something we never dared to dream? Picture this: a single, flickering candle on a polished oak table, its tiny flame trembling as if it knows the weight of the silence in the room. That's where I am right now, lost in thought, the dim light casting long shadows across the walls of a home that feels more like a museum of memories than a place of warmth. My name is Mira, and at 37, I'm starting to question the life I've built, piece by careful piece, over the last 12 years with my husband, Ethan. He's 39, a man of quiet strength, the kind who maps out every step of our future with the precision of an architect. To the outside world, we're the couple who has it all figured out, a charming suburban house with a lawn so neat it could be on a postcard, trips to far-off places like the cobblestone streets of Italy or the serene temples of Japan, and a savings account that never seems to dip below a certain reassuring number. But beneath that glossy surface, there's a void, a hollow space I've only just started to acknowledge, like a whisper in the back of my mind that won't let me rest. Our days unfold with the predictability of a well-rehearsed play. Every morning, Ethan is up first, the scent of freshly brewed coffee drifting through the house as I sit at the kitchen table, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, skimming headlines I don't really care about. We exchange small talk over breakfast, his plans for the day at the office, my updates on whatever project I'm half-heartedly tackling. Dinner is much the same, our conversations orbiting safe topics like the weather or a co-worker's latest drama, our voices polite but distant, as if we're reading from a script. And at night, after the dishes are done and the lights are dimmed, we climb into bed with a quick, mechanical peck on the cheek before turning our backs to each other, the space between us feeling wider than the mattress itself. There's no spark, no lingering touch, just a routine that's as comfortable as it is suffocating. I remember a time when stability was my anchor, the thing I clung to after years of uncertainty. But now, that same steadiness feels like a heavy fog, pressing down on me, dulling something essential inside, something I can't quite name, but desperately miss. I find myself wondering if this is what love becomes after a decade, if the slow erosion of passion is just the price of a life well planned. There's a part of me that aches for something more, something untamed and vivid, a connection that sets my pulse racing instead of lulling it to sleep. I don't know what that looks like yet, or if I'm even brave enough to chase it, but the longing is there, growing louder with each passing day. It's not that I don't care for Ethan. He's my rock, my constant. But caring isn't the same as feeling alive. I keep asking myself if I've settled, if I've traded something wild and real for a life of quiet predictability. That thought lingers as I stand in the kitchen on this rainy Thursday evening, the sound of water pattering against the windows like a restless drumbeat. I'm half-heartedly chopping carrots for a stew I don't even want, the knife moving in slow, distracted arcs, when I hear the front door creak open. Ethan steps in, shaking off droplets from his coat, and there's something different about him tonight. A spark in his hazel eyes, a rare excitement I haven't seen since the days we'd stay up all night talking about dreams bigger than ourselves. My chest tightens with a flicker of hope, or maybe it's just curiosity, as he strides over to the counter and sets down a small, black envelope. It's sleek, almost ominous, with no writing on it, just a faint shimmer under the kitchen light. Before I can ask, he leans in close, his voice dropping to a near whisper like he's sharing a forbidden secret. I've signed us up for a place where people play roles, where you can be someone else, even for a few hours. My hand freezes mid-chop, the knife hovering over the cutting board as I stare at him, trying to read his expression. What does that even mean? My voice comes out quieter than I intend, tinged with confusion. What are you talking about, Ethan? He grins, a little too wide, and starts explaining. It's a private club, he says, an exclusive experience that blends theater with something deeper, something psychological. A space to step outside ourselves, to shed the skin of who we are and try on someone new. He heard about it from a colleague, someone who swore it changed their perspective, and he thought it might be good for us. There's a weight to those last words, a silent acknowledgement of the distance that's grown between us, and I feel a strange mix of curiosity and unease twisting in my gut. I glance at his hands as he talks. They're fidgeting, fingers tapping against the counter, a nervous tick I haven't seen since our first dates, when he'd stumble over his words trying to impress me. That memory softens something in me, and before I can overthink it, I nod. Okay, let's do it. It's not that I'm sold on the idea, not really, but seeing him so animated, so alive, makes me want to hold on to this moment, even if I don't fully understand what I'm agreeing to. The next evening, we're in the car, driving through the city as the rain has turned to a light drizzle, the streets reflecting the glow of neon signs and headlights. Ethan's quiet now, focused on the road, and I'm staring out the window, my mind racing with questions I don't voice. We pull up to an unmarked building, a nondescript brick facade that looks like it could be anything, a warehouse, an old office, a forgotten relic of the city's past. There's just one detail that stands out, a heavy steel door with a small frosted glass panel at eye level, glowing faintly from a light within. My heart thumps a little harder as Ethan cuts the engine, the silence of the car suddenly suffocating. I follow him out, the cool night air biting at my skin, and we approach that door together. He knocks twice, a sharp, deliberate sound, and after a moment it creaks open, revealing nothing but darkness beyond. A voice, low and gravelly, instructs us to step inside and put on the masks waiting for us. I hesitate, but Ethan's hand brushes mine, a fleeting reassurance, and we comply, slipping on these opaque black masks that cover everything but our eyes and mouths. The material is smooth, almost cold against my skin, and it smells faintly of leather and something metallic. My vision narrows, the world reduced to slits of light and shadow, and I feel a strange mix of anonymity and vulnerability as we're guided down a narrow hallway, our footsteps echoing on what feels like concrete. We're led into a small, circular room, the walls painted a deep, inky black that seems to swallow any stray light. A single spotlight hangs in the center, casting a harsh, focused beam onto the floor, leaving the edges of the room shrouded in darkness. My breath catches as I notice 7 figures standing in a loose semicircle just beyond the light's reach. They're all dressed in black, their faces hidden behind masks identical to mine, their postures eerily still. A prickle of fear crawls up my spine, sharp and cold, as I realize Ethan isn't stepping forward with me. He moves to a corner of the room, his body tense, his silhouette barely visible against the dark wall. I turn to him, searching for some kind of explanation, but before I can speak, his voice cuts through the heavy silence, low and steady, almost hypnotic. Try not to think, just feel. Let yourself be. The words hang in the air, cryptic and unsettling, and I'm left standing alone under that blinding spotlight, my palms slick with sweat beneath the mask, my heart pounding so loud I'm sure everyone can hear it. I'm frozen, unsure of what's expected of me, when one of the strangers, a tall figure with broad shoulders, steps forward into the light. Their presence is commanding, almost magnetic, and they extend a hand toward me, palm up, an invitation without words. I hesitate, my gaze darting to Ethan in the corner, but his face is obscured by shadow, his expression unreadable. My throat tightens, but something compels me to reach out, my fingers trembling as they meet theirs. The touch is warm, grounding, and yet it sends a jolt through me, like a spark igniting something long dormant. What starts as a tentative connection spirals into something I never saw coming, something that unravels me piece by piece over the next hour. It begins with the eyes. Through the narrow slits of their masks, I catch glints of curiosity, of unspoken questions, and I find myself holding their gazes longer than I should, a silent conversation unfolding in the space between us. Then come the touches, subtle at first, fingertips grazing my arm as if testing the waters, a hand resting briefly on my shoulder, the warmth seeping through the fabric of my shirt. With each interaction, each new stranger stepping forward, I feel a part of myself stirring, a hunger for connection I thought I'd buried under years of routine and restraint. One of them guides me into a slow, almost ritualistic dance, our movements synchronized under the spotlight, the rhythm of our steps filling the silence. Another shares a quiet laugh with me, the sound muffled but genuine, and it loosens something tight in my chest. A third leans close, their breath warm against my ear as they murmur something I can't quite make out, but the vibration of their voice resonates deep within me, stirring feelings I haven't allowed myself to acknowledge in so long. It's not about crossing physical boundaries in the way you might think, but it's intimate in a way that cuts deeper than that. A betrayal of the emotional walls I've built with Ethan, the unspoken promises of exclusivity in our shared silences. Each moment, I'm standing in the center of this circular room, my chest heaving like I've just run a marathon, the air thick with the aftermath of what just unfolded. My skin still tingles from the connections I made, the unspoken exchanges that felt like they cracked open something inside me I didn't even know was locked. The 7 strangers, their black-clad forms blending into the shadows, file out one by one, their footsteps soft but deliberate against the hard floor. They don't look back, and I'm left under the fading glow of the spotlight, its light dimming as if it, too, is retreating from what it witnessed. Long shadows stretch across the space, clawing at the edges of my vision, and I feel utterly exposed, like I've shed more than just a mask in this strange, surreal hour. Ethan is still here, though, standing just beyond the light's reach. I can feel his presence, heavy and unreadable, as I reach up with trembling hands to pull off my mask. The cool air hits my face, a sharp contrast to the suffocating warmth of the leather, and I blink against the sudden clarity, my breath shallow. I don't know what to expect from him, anger maybe, or disappointment so deep it cuts. I brace myself, my fingers clutching the mask like it's a lifeline, as he steps forward, his own mask still firmly in place. Through the narrow slits, his eyes lock onto mine, searching, probing, and I notice a faint tremble in his jaw, a crack in the stoic facade I've grown so used to over the years. My stomach twists, a knot of guilt and fear tightening, and words start spilling out before I can stop them. "Ethan, I'm sorry," I stammer, my voice raw and uneven. "I didn't mean for it to go that far. I got caught up, lost in it. I didn't think—" My words trip over each other, clumsy and desperate, but he raises a hand, a silent command to stop. I freeze, my mouth half open, as he reaches up slowly, deliberately, and peels off his own mask. The dim light catches his face, and it's like I'm seeing him for the first time in years. Not the composed, calculated man I've shared a bed with for over a decade, but someone raw, unguarded, almost reverent in the way his gaze holds mine. His features are familiar, yet there's a vulnerability there that makes my breath catch. A softness in the lines around his eyes, a flicker of something I can't name. He takes a step closer, and I flinch instinctively, expecting a confrontation, a flood of accusations about the boundaries I danced too close to tonight. But instead, he reaches for my hand, his grip firm yet gentle, his skin warm against my clammy palm. The silence between us is deafening, louder than any words could be, and I'm caught in a storm of confusion and relief. What does this mean? Why isn't he saying anything? My mind races, replaying every moment under that spotlight. The lingering looks, the subtle brushes of contact that felt like whispers of something forbidden. The way I let myself feel things I haven't in so long. Did he see it all? Does he understand what it meant to me or what it might mean for us? Without a word, he turns, still holding my hand, and leads me out of the room. We move back through the velvet-lined hallways, the deep crimson fabric brushing against my arm like a reminder of the intensity we're leaving behind. The air feels heavier here, saturated with unspoken thoughts, and I can't tell if the weight is mine or his or something shared between us. My heart is still pounding, a relentless drum in my chest as we push through a final set of doors and step into the cool night outside. The sudden chill bites at my exposed skin, grounding me for a moment, and I realize I'm still clutching my mask, its edges crumpled from how tightly I've been gripping it. I look down at it, a symbol of the anonymity I hid behind, and a shiver runs through me that has nothing to do with the cold. We reach our car, parked under the faint glow of a street lamp. As we settle into the car, the familiar creak of the leather seats feels like a tether pulling me back to reality. Ethan starts the engine, its low hum filling the space between us, a steady rhythm that contrasts with the chaos still swirling in my mind. I'm staring out the window, the city streets gliding past in a blur of amber streetlights and shadowy buildings. Each light streaks across the glass, like a fleeting thought, and my heart hasn't stopped its frantic pace since we left that strange, intense place behind. My fingers fidget with the crumpled mask in my lap, the texture rough against my skin, a reminder of the vulnerability I let myself sink into tonight. I can still feel the echoes of those connections, the unspoken currents that pulled me under, and the weight of what I allowed myself to explore in front of Ethan. It's a heavy thing, this mix of guilt and exhilaration, and I don't know how to unpack it, or if I even should. The silence in the car is thick, almost tangible, like a fog I can't see through. I steal a glance at Ethan, his profile sharp against the dim glow of the dashboard, his hands steady on the wheel. I wonder what he's thinking. If the images of me under that spotlight are replaying in his mind the way they are in mine. Just as I'm about to break the quiet, to stammer out another apology or a question I don't even know how to form, I feel his hand reach across the console. His fingers find mine, intertwining with a gentle but deliberate pressure, a gesture that feels both like a memory and a revelation. My breath catches, and I turn my palm up to meet his, the warmth of his skin grounding me in a way I didn't expect. It's a simple touch, but it carries a weight I haven't felt from him in years. A silent promise or maybe a question of its own. His voice comes then, soft, almost a whisper, as if he's afraid to shatter whatever fragile thing is forming between us. You were brave. I saw the real you, and it's more beautiful than I imagined. The words hit me like a wave, unexpected and overwhelming, and I turned to face him fully, searching his expression for any trace of mockery or hidden hurt. But there's nothing there but sincerity, a depth in his hazel eyes that pierces through the walls I've built around myself. His gaze holds mine for a moment before flicking back to the road, but that brief connection is enough to make my chest tighten, a lump forming in my throat. I don't know how to respond, don't know if I even can, as my mind races to catch up with what he's saying. Brave? Beautiful? After what I did, after letting myself be so unguarded with strangers in ways I've never been with him lately, how can he see anything but betrayal? He keeps talking, his voice still low, each word measured as if he's been holding them in for a long time. I wanted this to happen. Not the specifics of what went down, but the chance to see you like that. Unguarded. Real. To witness the parts of you that you've kept hidden, even from yourself. My eyes widen, a mix of shock and confusion swirling inside me. He wanted this? He wanted to see me unravel, to step into a space where I wasn't just the predictable, composed Mira he's known for over a decade. I feel a sting of tears behind my eyes as he continues, his thumb brushing lightly over my knuckles, a small grounding motion. I felt it too, you know. The silence. The longing for something more than what we've settled into. Watching you tonight, it wasn't about judging you. It was about understanding. About seeing you in a way I haven't in so long. His confession hangs in the air, heavy and raw, and I realize with a jolt that he's not angry. He's not resentful. There's a gratitude in his tone, a quiet awe that I never expected, and it cracks something open inside me. Guilt still gnaws at the edges of my thoughts. Guilt for letting myself feel so much with others. The morning after that unforgettable night, I wake to the gentle warmth of sunlight spilling through the curtains, painting golden streaks across the rumpled sheets of our bed. I blink slowly, the haze of sleep still clinging to me, and realize I'm not alone in my usual early solitude. Ethan is already awake, perched on the edge of the mattress, a steaming mug of coffee cradled in his hands. The sight of him there, so still and contemplative, catches me off guard. For the first time in what feels like forever, there's no rush to dive into the day, no hurried footsteps or half-hearted goodbyes as we scatter to our separate routines. Instead, there's just this quiet moment, heavy with possibility, and I shift to sit beside him, the mattress dipping under my weight. We don't speak right away. The silence isn't oppressive like it used to be, though. It's softer, like a shared breath we're both learning to take again. When we finally start talking, it's not about the club or the charged encounters that unfolded under that spotlight. It's about us. About the dreams we tucked away in dusty corners of our minds, the ones we thought were too impractical or too far gone to revisit. I confess how I've missed the late-night conversations we used to have, mapping out a future full of wild ideas. And he admits he's been scared to voice how much he's craved something beyond our safe, predictable life. His voice is low, earnest, and I hang on every word, feeling the distance between us shrink with each one. As we talk, his hand brushes against mine, a fleeting touch that sends a quiet thrill through me. It's such a small gesture, but in this moment, it feels like a mountain moving. I find myself noticing things about him I've overlooked for years. The way his brow furrows when he's wrestling with a thought, creasing in a way that shows how deeply he feels. The slight curve of his smile when I let out a nervous laugh, a warmth that reaches his eyes and makes them crinkle at the corners. It's like I'm seeing him anew, peeling back layers of familiarity to find the man I fell for all those years ago, still there beneath the weight of routine. Sitting there, with the morning light wrapping around us, I let myself reflect on what happened last night. I can't deny that I liked it. Not just the rush of stepping into the unknown, but what it uncovered about us. It wasn't merely about the thrill of those intense, unspoken connections in that dark room, though they stirred something dormant in me. It was about the mirror it held up to our marriage, showing me how much we'd let slip into silence. I don't regret a single moment of it, not because of the excitement, but because it shattered the quiet that had been suffocating us. It forced us to look at each other, really look, and confront the stagnation we'd both been too afraid to name. In that confrontation, we chose each other again, not out of habit, but out of a renewed desire to rebuild. I think about trust as we sit there, and I realize it's not just about staying true in the ways most people define it. It's about vulnerability, about bearing the parts of yourself you've kept hidden, even from the person who knows you best. It's about letting someone see you at your most unguarded, raw, uncertain, flawed, and still being met with love. Last night, I felt exposed in a way I hadn't in years, and Ethan didn't turn away. He saw me, all of me, and instead of judgment, he offered understanding. That, more than anything, feels like the foundation of something stronger, something we can build on if we're brave enough to keep showing up for each other. Later that day, we find ourselves in the kitchen, standing side by side at the sink, washing dishes in a rhythm that feels almost like a dance. It's such a mundane task, one we've done 1,000 times without a second thought, but today it carries a different weight. The clink of plates, the soft splash of water, the way our elbows brush as we move. It's intimate in a way I hadn't expected. I feel a renewed sense of connection with him. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.